Okay, I'm going to talk about this pipe dream because I doubt we're gonna get it, at least get it the way I want it to. This is what I think a Legends Unova game should look like. Personally, I don't think we're going to do the whole original dragon thing. I don't think we should do the original dragon. Don't get me wrong, I'm curious to see what design they come up with for the original dragon, but I prefer Zekrom and Risharam to be dormant until the black and white games. It's sort of a nostalgia thing. I don't want it to detract from the moment of the after all these years we finally found a worthy hero bit. So instead of focusing on Romulus and Remus over here, yes, I'm aware we're called the heroes of truth and ideals, but I'm going to call them Romulus and Remus because it's easier to say. Let's move towards the setting away from the ancient past, closer towards the present. I do believe that the Legends game should stay somewhat near the present. I'd say give or take 151 years to the past. So, since Unova is based off of America, I thought we should take a page from American history, specifically the antebellum era of America. This era where we get an influx of immigration is a simple way to get a protagonist. Your family simply got on a boat and headed towards Castelia City. You are from the Old World, an unspecified place in Pokey Europe. Obviously, Castelia City isn't going to be like modern day Castelia City. Your player character is the ancestor of Hilbert or Hilda, and are told by your mom to go join your dad working for the professor because you guys need to eat. Your family gave up pretty much everything to get to Unova in the first place, mirroring most 19th century immigrants to America. Much like the 19th century immigrants, most people will find you suspicious or a foreign subversive, so you really only have one place to go work. Since this takes place in Castelia City, I was going to take some elements of Dutch colonial architecture, mainly because of how New York City was once called New Amsterdam. Then we can show off some of the Dutch tulips, which we can get really creative with how we play these cards. Unova is a large and diverse environment, therefore I think we should pull elements from a lot of places. I'm just giving the Dutch as an example. A Legends Unova game would revolve around uniting Unova's various settlements against a much bigger threat. Think Civil War antebellum era America, although everyone isn't going to be fighting over the issue of slavery like the actual American Civil War. This is Unova. It may be based off of America, but it is not America. Let's not get into actual history because I can start going on and on and on about it. Much like the Civil War era America and antebellum period, people felt a lot of loyalty towards their states and their regions rather than they felt towards the idea of a united America. That's what I'm going to do with Unova. It would be interesting to see Unova have this highly sectionalized grasp of whether they should be more loyal to their individual settlements and their unique heritage, or whether they should be identified as Unovan, and what does it mean to even be Unovan. So, what exactly is the plot? Like I said, ancestor of Hilbert Hilda just arrived in Unova. Professor Juniper's ancestor is the only place willing to give you work because everyone looks at you like you're a suspicious foreign subversive. You also meet Drayden and Drayton's ancestor, who tells you about the backstory of Unova, how long ago Unova was united, under the reign of Romulus and Remus, until their children clashed and devastated with Unova with flames and lightning. Unova, as it sits, is highly divided and sectional, suspicious of everyone outside their city borders. Now a new threat has arisen. Two factions want to unite all of Unova, one wanting to do it under the banner of truth, the other wanting to do it under the banner of ideals. In reality, their leaders are Anthea and Concordia's ancestors. They're in cahoots. In a Palpatine-style gambit, they want the factions to go to war and destroy each other, devastating Unova with fire and lightning once more, although without Zekrom and Rishram. This is to get them to be able to rebuild Unova in their image and likeness, and you as the protagonist have the goal to gain favor of the local leaders, and by gaining their favor, essentially unite them against this faction that wants to destroy the region in a war. When Anthea and Concordia's ancestors' plot fails, they default to Plan B, devastating the region themselves using Curum. They are tasked with assembling their masterpiece, using their inner circle of 7 sages. The DNA splicers. They're trying to assemble the DNA splicers, though DNA hasn't been discovered yet in universe, so they'll have to call it something else. The twist here is that there's not just one DNA splicer. There are two. The idea is that one is for Zekrom, the other is for Rishram. In the struggle to stand against the villains, one of them breaks. You do manage to seize the surviving splicer from the villains who flee, though not before they tell you that they did technically succeed in uniting the region. They will note that by you uniting the region against them, their dream has been accomplished. They do warn you that by being united in hatred is a fragile alliance at best, and foresee a bigger conflict in the future, which is Black and White and Black 2 and White 2. Then you hand the remaining DNA splicer to Drayden's ancestor, which kicks off the plot of Black 2 and White 2. But this is just my fanfic for a while. Please consider liking, subscribing, tipping the channel on Ko-fi, or commenting below. This is Cyril signing off.